Well, let's roll up our sleeves and have some fun. In the external world, we find 18 characteristics. 6 of these will assist us in more effectively connecting with other people. 6 of these characteristics will support us in staying present in the now, in passion-driven action. And 6 of these characteristics will provide needed order and structure. Now, if the color is blue, our thought processes are supporting that characteristic. If it turns green, occasionally there's a thought process that might put a little pressure on that characteristic. And if it turns orange or red, frequently or even consistently, there is a thought process putting pressure on that characteristic. Well, I'm going to take a few moments and review with you the 5 characteristics that generally have the most challenge. And we'll start with analytical. See, analytical? This is the ability to think about and be open to new ideas that add value to a situation. But what happens when it starts to turn green and then orange and perhaps even red? It's telling us that we're not just thinking, we are constantly or obsessively thinking about new and better ways to do things. Now, if your job or career is to solve problems, that could be a gift. However, as it turns green and then orange and then red, there are increased risks associated with that kind of pressure. For an example, you might be sitting with someone you love and they may go, yoo-hoo, over here. I mean, physically we're present, but mentally we're somewhere else. Another challenge is we might get paralysis of analysis where we just keep thinking and thinking and thinking and not taking the action necessary to actually complete a task. And the most common is when we think this much, we can get attached to our ideas. And when we get attached, we may need to be right. Well, here's the challenge. 95% of the population cannot separate their idea from their self-worth. They are inextricably connected. When we need to be right, they need to be wrong. And it damages their self-worth. Would it serve you? Would it serve you to learn how to find the good in another person's idea without even having to agree with the idea? Or to let go of the need to be right so that you can use this mind of yours constructively without destroying people? Let's take a look up here at this one called respectful. Now, respectful is the ability to acknowledge and appropriately recognize a person's talents and skills and possessions and accomplishments and contributions. Now, that's a great characteristic to support us in connecting with another person. However, when this one starts to turn green and then orange and then red, most commonly it suggests that we are focusing too much on a person's outward appearance. Now that causes some challenges. One, based on what we see, we may create an expectation about how they will act. And then we're constantly disappointed. Second of all, and especially if you look over there at, self-esteem, the whole and complete, see that in the internal world? Whole and complete, confident, valiant, any challenges here? Someone looks really successful and we feel less than. We might create a straw bridge. That's a bridge that won't support us when we try to step over to connect. We might feel intimidated. We might get that sweaty palms and dry mouth and feel uncomfortable, and we might even say something that's foolish. Would it serve you to learn how to step into someone's world and to take down their walls of resistance and create a safe place and a wonderful connection without making it about you and without over-focusing on outward appearances, getting inside their wall? Let's take a look up at disciplined. Now, 92% plus the time, when someone's actively seeking abundance, we find this one orange. Take a look at your assessment. What color is it? Orange. Because disciplined is our ability to follow rules that add value to our life. As this gets orange, we have, a little resistance to those rules. We want to think outside the box, be more creative. Now, could that serve you? Oh, absolutely. But again, when it turns orange or red, there are shadow sides. There are risks associated. And here the risks are that, well, but when I go to start a program such as, here's my thought, here I am rising above, I'm starting my exercise program. Will this thought process support me? I'm starting a new career. Will this thought process support me? I want to fire my boss, but am I willing to apply for the job? Would it serve us to learn how to let go of resentment and resistance and surrender sometimes to the very structure behind which we find the success we desire? Let's take a look at productive. Now, productive is an interesting measurement. This is our ability to know what needs to be done and how to do it and how to take the actions to get it done. When this starts to turn green, then orange, and then red, we start to become a little impatient and sometimes a little insensitive. We want things done right, and we want them done now. Do I have to do everything myself to get it done right? Remember this earlier? Can you imagine what I could accomplish if I didn't have to involve people? Yes, we want things done right. Would it help you? Would it serve? To know how to be in passion-driven action, knowing precisely what you're doing and valuing the people in the process so that you don't feel like you're hurting cats. You're lifting and building others in the process. Would that serve? Well, just one more. Let's go down here to Justin Fair. We see this one challenged quite often with leaders and corporate executives. We start to see it turn green and then orange and then red. Justin Fair is the ability to set appropriate boundaries. Now, what happens when someone's underperforming? Do we go, wow, I should spend more time training them, or I need to give them more slack, or ask yourself this question. Is there anyone in your life, personal or professional, past or present, who has been draining you emotionally, physically, financially, spiritually, and you just haven't quite known how to confront them? When there's an infraction, do you put it in the gunny sack because it's just not big enough to blow up a relationship over that? Then the next one, not quite big enough, not quite big enough. What happens when the gunny sack is full? Do we ever just dump it and have someone respond, well, all I did was, because we've given tacit approval by failing to set appropriate boundaries. When we're connecting with people and lifting people, it is important that we are clear and we are accurate. Would it serve you in maximizing this characteristic? Well, there are many other measurements in this external world. Passionate, when that turns orange, and if it is orange for you, it's not generally the cause, it's a symptom. The cause is generally over here. We'll take a look at that in a few moments. You look at some of these others, teachable. Maybe you've been in a situation where you've been controlled by someone and you're never going to be controlled again. And so when someone approaches you and tries to use their authority to get you to do something, you might push back just a little bit. Maybe throw out the baby with the bathwater. If you're teachable as orange or red, just think, am I in a position where I have a fair amount of autonomy? Have I ever had a job with a controlling supervisor? Have I ever been fired when I actually spoke what I was thinking? And we go down the road and look at these others as well. Now, if you'd like to, after we finish this video, double-click on any one of these characteristics, and a pop-up will appear. And that pop-up will be two audio bars. One, a description of the power in that characteristic, and two, what your thought processes might want you to do. So take a look at the greens. These are your natural strengths. You're going to want to maximize these. Sometimes stuff over here keeps us from doing that. And if it's orange or red, you're going to want to learn to manage it or create new habits of thinking so that pressure is not present so that you can fully maximize that characteristic.